Hi everybody, it's Camille from Butternut Soap Company. Today, actually I'm going to be making a few things. I have to click on this, hang on a second, continue recording without audio, even though I double checked there is audio. So I'm trying a new way. I installed this camera again and I'm recording with the app. So we'll see if this turns out. So I don't have everything weighed out. I have almost everything weighed out here. This is a teeny tiny batch. I don't usually make them this small, but I just want to see if something worked. In here I've got beeswax and lotion bar additive, which I don't remember ordering it, but when I cleaned out the soap room, I found it and I went, huh, I must have thought I wanted this for my lotion bars. I don't know. But after looking into it, turns out that this is supposed to help with the graininess of butters, shea butter being the worst. And I have tempered butters. I tempered these yesterday. Yeah, I'm kind of messy here. But this one's my shea. I didn't do a lot because I've tempered my butters before and still ended up with grainy butters. This is mango and I have some kokum butter here that I tempered because kokum, I'm not sure. I've made my lip balms with the kokum butter before, but I don't know if that one's a culprit or not. And after looking online, I haven't got any concrete answers. So I haven't weighed everything out because these butters still haven't been weighed. So like I said, beeswax, lotion bar additive, and here I have hemp oil, olive oil, avocado. Do I have anything else in there? I said olive oil. Yeah, okay. That's all I've got in there. And then I have my 3 butters. And of course my flavor oil. I love flavor oils. They're so nice. And I'm using coconut today. It's coconut cream by Candora. So the first thing I'm going to do is I thought I was going to be melting my beeswax and stuff. Is I'm going to weigh out my butters. And I'll just put them on this little piece of paper here. I don't need much. It's so funny working in such a teeny tiny batch. Okay, so I have my shea. And I'm not using a lot of it. I'm actually cutting right down because shea is a jerk. It really is a jerk. Okay, so even that's like way too much. But I way cut back on my butters. The only butter that I kind of upped a little bit, not by much though. Well, yeah, there's twice as much, 3 times as much kokum as there is the other ones. This is my new little scale that I got for 20 bucks, which was so nice to finally have because making my lotions, I have so many ingredients that just require these tiny, tiny, like 0.001 of something, like my aloe times 100 powder. Stuff like that, where you really need these tiny, tiny little scales to get you what you need. And let's see, we're so close here. And I'm so scared of wrecking it. I'm such a klutz that this delicate, tiny little scale, I keep thinking I'm going to wreck it if I'm not extra careful. Okay. To see literally 0.95. And I want the exact measurement. I just do. I know that tiny little bit isn't going to make much of a difference, not in this. But I can't help it. I want it to be perfect. And it's kind of funny because using this small of a batch, this is going to feel like, okay, in theory, this would fill 12.15 ounce tubes. But because if you've made lotion before, you know that, I have to tear this, you know that as you pour, it hardens up around it. So you end up having to remelt it and pour it in, which increases your chances of graininess because you've now taken it, reheated it to get hot enough to pour that last bit out. And you're going to worry about graininess. And you should worry about graininess because it just, it's there and it doesn't want to go anywhere. So like I said, I've tempered before. And I think, is it the reheating This is my mango. I'm not sure if it's tempering and then reheating it again that gives it that graininess. And I don't know, I gotta say, shea butter is, I'm starting to think I may have to eliminate it. Like, I think I might have to, just to avoid that. There's nothing worse than making a gorgeous lip balm and you start using it and you're like, oh, it's so silky and so nice. And then 2 weeks later, you know, you're halfway through the tube and all of a sudden it's all grainy. If you're selling lip balm, the last thing you want is for somebody to use it and then think, huh, why did my soap maker put sand in my lip balm? Because it's not nice. If it's for yourself, it's different. So I do know that I understand how it works. So, okay, I'm doing 0.3 of kokum, which is my new favorite go-to lip butter. But it's so cool. It feels really neat. Like if you haven't used kokum butter, it's really interesting. The texture is almost like powdery. I don't know how to describe it. It's kind of an interesting texture. It really is. But, excuse me. I think I was talking about shea. I'm all over the map and I'm in such a bad mood today. So I'm so glad that I'm here talking to you guys because you guys don't tick me off. And right now there's a few people that are just ticking me off and put me in a bad mood, which is throwing me completely off topic about the shea butter. Oh, that's what I was saying. Basically, you want to get it to its melting point. Now, I can't find a straight answer on this one, and I have looked everywhere. The one thing you have to do that everybody agrees on, you have to get it to its melting point and make sure that you get it up high enough that you're going to melt the stearic acid. You're gonna get everything in there melted. And there seems to be some debate on whether or not cooling it quickly, like putting it in the fridge or the freezer, is necessary. Now, from what I can tell, more people than not think that yes, cool it down quickly. Don't give it a chance for those crystals to form again. So I've always put my lotion bars, my lip balms, I always pop them straight in the freezer when I'm done. Always. But with the shea butter, you know, that stuff can't be trusted. It's like one of those people that you want to call friend, but you don't, because something about them that you've heard and seen makes you go, yeah, you know, you're nice and all, but I'm not 100% sure that I trust you. That's what shea butter's like. So I tempered them again, and this time I did because some people, like I said, some people say you have to heat it up to the right temperature and then hold and keep that temperature, maintain that temperature for whatever amount of time or different amount of times. Last time I did that, things seemed fine until I got halfway through my bar, like through my balm. So, yeah, okay, we're done talking about that. Until someone finds a cure, I don't know. So what I'm gonna do? I'm tripping over my own tongue. It is that kind of a day. What I'm gonna do first is melt the beeswax and the lotion bar additive. And then instead of melting these with it, I'm going to try to do heat transfer. I'm going to see if I can melt these in the already hot beeswax and lotion bar additive and hopefully not get graininess, because another theory is to not temper your butters, but to not, you want to melt them really slow. You want to put them in something that's warm and then let them slowly melt. So it's the heat. It's the heat and the cool down that is causing graininess. So some people go, well, all you do is you make sure that you melt that real carefully and really slowly. And even when you temper them, you do that too. You don't just crank it up. Oh, and by the way, do it on a double boiler. Well, that's what I recommend anyway, just from all my research. I tend to go with the majority. If I research for an entire day and the majority of people are saying do it slow, I'm going to say do it slow. Don't just fire it into the microwave and get it super hot. If that works for you, yay. I would actually like you to put that in the comments. If you've tempered butters or you have some kind of a trick that you do with shea butter, because shea butter is a monster in this department, then please comment down below and let us all know what you do with your butter to keep it from going grainy on you, because that would be real interesting to know. I don't actually know what people who live down south, like in the States, where it's really hot all the time, how do you guys, I don't know if I would even ever use shea butter, because you got to remember lip balms go in purses, they go in your pocket. So the odds of those suckers heating up and melting that shea are really, really high, even here in the summer. So we'll see. I'm going to try this method and we'll see what I get. And the funny part about it is it might turn out perfect. But then in a couple weeks, because I always have a few containers going. Like I have this old one, it's empty, and if I have extra when I'm done filling, I top it up. Like I have this old Carmex container, cleaned it out. Have this Blistex lip conditioner, so I just cleaned them out and sterilized them. And if I have extra, I just pour them into here, which probably looks bad in public that it looks like I'm not using my own product, but I am using my own product. So yeah, we're gonna try different today. Even these oils, once this beeswax is melted, which I don't know if it's just me, but it seems to me that it takes forever to melt beeswax. All right, okay, it's melted, so yay. And I know better than to grab this with my bare hand, because I've done that before. Never ended well. So that's really hot. I'm gonna add my oils first, I think. Today's a bit of an experiment, because today it's all about the butters and what they usually do to me. So we'll see, because I have a whole bunch of lip balm to make actually. I'm going to make my first tinted one too. I have a raspberry glaze I got. That's the flavor oil. And oh my goodness, it smells so good. But I want to tint it. I want to tint this one, I think. Well, not this one, but the raspberry glaze. I want to tint. But see, wax to me is always a little, I find it a little bit funny. See, it's nice and hot. Okay, I added those oils. Now, let's add our butters. Let's do kokum first. And as usual, I will be popping this in the freezer. You know what? Should I dump it all in? What's my temperature at? Wow, that is some hot. So I'm going to write it down actually. 232. Really hot. But I'm going to melt this first. Then I'm going to add the shea and the mango. Kokum I don't think is a grainy butter. If you haven't used it, you should really try it. It's an interesting butter and the properties are amazing. Do a little research on it. And then, yeah, get it, try it in a lotion bar. It's actually really nice. Like I broke off a piece a while back and I had it in one of my little containers like this, and I was just pulling out the chunk and rubbing it on my lips just because I was fascinated by the texture. It's very interesting that a butter would have such a powdery consistency. That's the only way I can word it, powdery. Okay, let's add you. That's the shea and the mango. See, I'm melting it real fast because this is so hot, but I will cool it down very quickly. And I did Google today because, you know, me and the whole editor thing, I'm not paying for an editor. I can't afford to. And Windows 10 didn't come with Movie Maker. And even when I downloaded it, it just screwed up all my videos. But I Googled today if YouTube maybe had one, and it does. So what I can do is, you know, make make one video in 3 parts. I can just upload them separately and then seam them together. So now I'm going to add my coconut cream, flavor oil. Never go over the recommended usage rate for a flavor oil. Not just because you're not supposed to, but because you'll go from a nice sweet flavor oil to a very bitter flavor oil, and you don't want that. I made that mistake once. I will not make it again. So this one you can use up to 2%. I'm using 1.5%. And now it's time to pour. I just want to make sure it's properly mixed. But see, odds are, I don't know. Normally, it's hard for me to fill all my containers at once. I usually have way more though. But with every pour, it sticks to the side and it starts, tripping over my tongue. Starts to solidify. But this Pyrex thing is so hot right now that maybe it won't. So we'll see. And I used to use rubber bands, which, trust me, it's a great trick to hold them all together to fill. But then if you spill on the sides, they're a pain to clean up. So I hope you can see what I'm doing. And, you know, for somebody with shaky hands, lip balms, they really are tricky. And another tip for your lip balms is if you find that after you've poured, you get the dip in the middle or a hole in the middle, it doesn't look right, it's an easy fix. Just take your heat gun after they're cooled, run it over there, and you'll have a beautiful smooth top. So yeah, great tip. Heat gun fixes it all. Another thing is, like I said, I'm putting it in the freezer. Do not keep it in the freezer too long or it will crack, which you can also fix with a heat gun. But if you can avoid having to fix with a heat gun, avoid it. And I always like to top these off because they look full right now, but the second they start to cool a little, they sink. And if I have, and I usually do have extra, I like to warm it up and just top it off so that when you open it up, you have a nice full lip balm. It looks, you know, it might be a little more than the 0.15 ounce that it says on the label, but hey, you give that tiny bit extra. Why not, right? So here we go. Wow, this Pyrex thing is so hot right now that even through this cloth, my fingers are burning. I may be a slow worker sometimes, but this will speed me up. My hands are burning. Kind of like when I piped hot process. Ha ha ha. Yeah, if you've never piped hot process, I will warn you right now. Get ready. Your hands are going to burn real bad. Oh, that was a bad spill right there. But you know what? That's not so bad compared to my usual spills. Ow, it's hot. I was going to complain how hot my soap room was. This is going to be absolutely perfect. Come on, baby. You only have a little bit more to make it. You probably cannot see that, but I am so close to this one being full. Like, so close. Come on, baby. Well, that one might have to be for Mom. I'm going to see if I can warm it up a bit more. Which I know sounds a little bit funny. Warm it up a little bit more while I'm telling you it's burning my hands. But I don't know if you can see that. Can you see the dip? I don't want to pick it up and tilt it. But my pours were great. Yay. Okay, I better not do more than that. But see, I do wonder, okay, no, that's not going to work. I do wonder if this, you know, you temper the butters and then you reheat them by putting them in this super hot beeswax. Does that make the graininess come back after you've tempered? I don't know. But okay, I'm going to pop this in the freezer and then I'll come back to show you what it looks like when it's done. So I will be right back.